This is what missing you looks like to an avoidant. It's easy to imagine that when someone misses you, they'll text, call, or show up. That's how most people express longing, through action. But with an avoidant, missing you looks completely different. It's not loud, it's not obvious, and it's almost never direct. In fact, when an avoidant misses you, it often looks like they don't miss you at all. They'll pull back, stay silent, or even act cold. But underneath that icy distance, something far more complicated is happening. A quiet storm they don't know how to navigate. You see, avoidants are emotionally self-contained. They were raised to survive by suppressing their needs, by convincing themselves they don't need anyone. So when they start missing you, it triggers something they've spent their whole life trying to avoid: dependence. They feel the ache, but instead of leaning toward it, they run from it. The thought of missing you makes them feel vulnerable, exposed, and vulnerability to them equals danger. So while you're wondering if they've moved on, they're battling an internal war between craving closeness and fearing it. At first, they try to logic their way out of it. They tell themselves, I'm fine without them. I don't need anyone. They distract themselves with work, hobbies, or even meaningless connections. But the truth is, every distraction is an attempt to silence the emotional noise you left behind. They'll scroll past your social media trying not to stop, but they always do. They'll see something small, a post, a photo, a memory, and for a split second, it hits them. The feeling they can't fully name: missing you. But because they can't process that openly, they suppress it again and convince themselves it's nothing. Avoidants don't miss you in the way you'd recognize. They miss you in fragments, quietly, secretly, when no one is looking. It shows up when they lie awake at night replaying your laughter, your scent, the way you made them feel seen. It shows up when they see your name pop up somewhere and their heart skips, but they won't text. They'll stare at their phone, type a message, then delete it. Not because they don't care, but because caring terrifies them. Reaching out means admitting that you matter, and that's the one truth their ego isn't ready to face. When an avoidant misses you, it doesn't push them toward you. It pushes them inward. They start remembering the good moments, but immediately follow them with reasons why their relationship wouldn't work. This is their defense mechanism. They rewrite the story to protect themselves from emotional pain. So instead of thinking, I lost someone amazing, they tell themselves, it's for the best. We were too different. That's how they create emotional distance to survive. It's not that they don't feel, it's that feeling threatens their sense of control. But here's the part that most people don't see. Missing you hurts an avoidant deeply. It just doesn't look like pain. It looks like withdrawal. It looks like them pretending to be fine, while inside they're fragmented. The same walls that once kept them safe now trap them in loneliness. They crave connection but don't know how to reach for it. They want to call but can't handle the anxiety of vulnerability. So they sit in silence, convincing themselves it's peace, when really it's just emotional paralysis. Sometimes their missing you shows up in strange ways. They might suddenly become more active online, post something mysterious, or show interest in things you liked. It's their indirect way of saying, I'm thinking of you, without having to admit it. Or they might reach out with something random, like asking about a show you used to watch or a mutual friend. It's never a direct confession. It's a safe test to see if the door is still open. And if you respond warmly, it calms their fear for a moment, but only for a moment. Because soon after they retreat again, scared by the same closeness they crave. You might think that if they miss you, they'll eventually reach out, but that's not always true. For many avoidants, missing you becomes a private ritual, something they do in silence. They'll revisit your old texts, replay conversations, even look through pictures, but they'll do it secretly, late at night when no one knows. That's the only space where they allow themselves to feel, and even then, they quickly shut it down before the feelings grow too strong. It's not because they've stopped caring, it's because caring feels unsafe. In their world, missing someone is tied to shame, because needing someone means weakness, and weakness is the very thing they've been trained to suppress. So when they catch themselves missing you, they don't say, I miss them. They say, I'm being emotional. I need to get over this. That's how they disconnect from their own hearts. And yet, the more they try to bury it, the more it lingers. You become a quiet ghost that lives in the spaces they can't escape. Their music, their memories, their solitude. Here's the truth. When an avoidant misses you, it's often the beginning of their awakening. At first, they don't understand the ache. They think it's just loneliness. But over time, that missing turns into realization. They start to see that no amount of distraction fills the void you left. They might date others, travel, or bury themselves in work, but you still show up in their thoughts when everything goes quiet. That's when they begin to understand that missing you wasn't weakness, it was love. But by the time they realize that, they've usually pushed you too far away. Some avoidants eventually circle back, not because they suddenly changed, but because missing you forced them to confront what they've been avoiding, the fear of intimacy. They might text you out of nowhere, sounding casual, but underneath that small message lies a mountain of unspoken feelings. It's their way of saying, I've been thinking of you. I just didn't know how to say it. And while it might seem like they're playing games, for them, that little act is monumental. It's a step toward vulnerability. But not all avoidants return. Some keep their distance forever, haunted by what they couldn't allow themselves to feel. They carry you like a secret, something too precious and too painful to touch. They may never say it, but a part of them keeps loving you quietly, from afar. You'll never see it, but it's there, hidden behind their calm exterior. And in their quietest moments, they wonder what might have happened if they just had the courage to stay. So what does missing you look like to an avoidant? It looks like silence. It looks like scrolling through old photos and pretending not to care. It looks like avoidance, denial, and longing wrapped in pride. It's them checking your last scene and pretending it was an accident. It's them dreaming about you but waking up pretending they didn't. It's emotional chaos dressed up as control. And while you may never get the apology, the confession, or the closure you deserve, know this: they felt it. They just didn't know how to show it. In the end, the tragedy of the avoidant heart is that they miss people in silence. They love in fear and grieve in secret, but the ones they push away, they remember them the longest. Because deep down, avoidants don't forget the people who made them feel safe to feel. They just hope one day they'll become brave enough to love without running. And if they ever do, it's often too late. But the memory of you remains the quiet proof that they once tried to love, even when love scared them most. So if you've ever wondered whether your avoidant ex or partner misses you, the answer is yes, just not in the way you'd expect. Their silence isn't absence, it's struggle. Their distance isn't indifference, it's fear. Missing you for them is an invisible battle between love and self-protection. And sometimes the greatest proof that you mattered is the silence that still holds your name.